The National Soccer Network presents the Major League Indoor Soccer and Women's Major League Indoor Soccer Finals Weekend. 8 teams have traveled from across America to hoist a championship trophy at Orleans Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. From the first whistle to the final second, expect intensity, passion, and drama at every turn. The finals start right now.
It is the final semifinal match here on semifinal Saturday in the Major League Indoor Soccer League, and some might say this is the best one of the bunch. It's Amarillo versus Cleveland Crunch, each team with championship pedigree and a rematch from last year's Major League Indoor Final. Let's pass it over to our commentators who both suspicious college football teams in Kevin Arnold and Tanner White.
Well, what an introduction to this one, as Amarillo fans would probably say. I am suspicious of being the voice of the Cleveland Crunch throughout the season, but I promise you, this one is going to be called right down the middle as we get set for a big matchup. Again, like Ryan just told us, Tanner, this one is a rematch of an overtime thriller last year. Amarillo, of course, in a non-golden goal situation, which we have those same rules this year in overtime in the playoffs. They won 10-8. They actually scored the first 3 goals of that overtime and really took control. They had it at the end. I know Cleveland has revenge on their mind. Amarillo wants to stake their claim as a dominant force here in MLIS.
Yeah, you bet. You win the back-to-back championships, and then the talk is kind of no more. It's kind of you and then everybody else. Cleveland, every single year, expects themselves to be in this match. And they're in the semis. That's all well and good, but you know that they've got further aspirations. Toronto, the top seed in the North. Cleveland coming in the number 2. That's how you draw the number 1 overall seed, as Amarillo, with a single loss on the season to Salt Lake City, took the number 1 overall spot in this tournament. That Bombers side, look at the goal differential, Kevin, plus 72 in a 12-match regular season.
So Amarillo finds themselves back in the playoffs. Crunch, like you said, that is their pedigree. Cleveland, they have been in the playoffs in any league they've been in since they returned during the COVID era. One final match on semifinal Saturday right here on the National Soccer Network. It is Cleveland, Amarillo coming at you in just a few moments.
sing my song ground on and off of the field. Don't miss the time to register.
Sign up
Now for Barca
Barca
Camp.
Camp.
In Barca Camp, I sing my song ground on and off of the field. Don't miss the time to register.
Sign up
Now for Barca
Barca
Camp.
Camp. authentic Mexican flavor made fresh from scratch. Every ingredient prepared with real Mexican tradition. Your bowl, your rules. Visit us at one of our Cleveland locations.
Built on service, driven by integrity, trusted through compassion. They serve, we honor. They commit, we care. They sacrifice, we heal. At Apex Skin, a veteran-owned practice, we proudly give back to those that gave so much by offering free scar revisions through our Purple Heart Project. Trusted care for every journey. Visit apexskin.com/care to schedule your appointment today.
Freshly chopped, perfectly topped. Fresh chips, creamy queso. Feeling thirsty? Try one of our signature drinks. Mexican classics? Always.
Liberty Home Mortgage is kicking off a new sponsorship with Cleveland Crunch.
We're revolutionizing the way mortgage lending is done today.
Looking to purchase or refinance a home, we'll find the best solution for you.
Come see how Liberty Home Mortgage is changing the game.
As the teams make their way out to the pitch for the final match of semifinal Saturday, the Crunch in their white uniforms and Amarillo in their black kits. This evening, the goalkeepers will be in orange for Amarillo, and for the Crunch, it will be in blue. The Crunch will be without a couple players in this match tonight. Ryan Minnick will not be available for the team, as well as starting goalkeeper Mario Musa attending to a matter back home this weekend. So it'll be Liam McIntosh getting the start in goal for Cleveland, but Amarillo coming in at 11-1. I am Kevin Arnold. He is Tanner White. We will be joined by Ryan Glinsky throughout the match. You see the starting lineups right there. The aforementioned Liam McIntosh in goal. The Amarillo Bombers will counter with Jose Fredo Chavez. And the rest of the starters for Amarillo: Adrian Miller, Miguel Reyes, Darren Mitchell, Luis Esteban, and Kike Cañes. On the other side for the Crunch, of course, it'll be the traditional lineup that you tend to see starting a match. Bobby Chanchar, Dave Jordan, the captain, on defense. In the midfield, Admir Slivich, the two-time defending MVP of the league. Sammy Mutemwa will join him in the midfield, and Mikey Derazic will be up top in the 2-2-1 formation. So a rematch of last year's final we get it here in the semifinals.
And what a time for it too. We know how that match played out. We know it was tight all throughout. We know it went to overtime, and then there was no golden goal in it. That created some controversies, and nobody was happy about it. Amarillo, though, did win that match in the final last year. And now Cleveland, hungry as anybody. Their revenge tour started the moment this season kicked off. And those first couple of matches, it felt really personal because they did some numbers against Lansing and Fort Wayne.
And you saw a different energy with both of these teams coming out. You saw the traditional just nice and calm walkout for everybody. The other three semifinals that we had, it's a different energy to this one. Just you see guys clapping, getting each other hyped up, kind of the little punches to the chest, all the little things. Guys for the Crunch are still running around. You have your team over there, Adrian Miller, pumping up his team as well, as they will get things started here in just a little bit. They will be announcing the players for both of these squads, and of course we will have the national anthem of the United States of America in just a few moments. But it feels like these guys have been cooped up in their locker rooms the entire day, and it's all for a chance to play against Toronto tomorrow in the final, who got 11-5 win earlier on this afternoon over Salt Lake City. Toronto got out to a big lead, Tanner, and then Salt Lake got a little bit of run there in the second half. Toronto does what Toronto does. They sealed it away, and behind a lot of good play there by Sebastian Lopez, and even with using 2 goalkeepers, Toronto gets the job done.
Yeah, reserve keeper John Smits in that one. Unfortunately, you saw him getting whacked at one point there. That was kind of a scary play for him. However, all eyes are going to be on Filip Zendelik, and we got to get that unofficial injury report whenever it rolls out, because that's huge. That's the defending goalkeeper of the year in Major League Indoor Soccer, Filip Zendelik. That guy scores goals, he creates goals, he saves goals, and if there's no him, if it's just down to John Smits, it's a really tough ask, although Smits is a veteran.
Although Smits is a veteran, plenty of veterans on both sides for these teams. You see Amarillo getting announced as we speak, and it looks like plenty of fans for both squads as well. A lot of energy, a lot of anxious moments. It is 7:27 local time in Vegas. Of course, 10:27 for those watching on the Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Cleveland fans have been waiting for them, and we head to the arena, Orleans Arena, for the national anthem.
Thank you.
National anthem. We will get the conversation between the captains and the officials in just a moment, and then it will be kickoff time. Feels like caged animals ready to just absolutely release all of that pent-up energy, pent-up anticipation right there from the start. I think a key coming out here early, Tanner, for both of these squads. You can't unleash it all at once. You can't force yourself to get to that second win too early in this one.
I'm told they're going to play at least 60 minutes, Kevin. If it should be a little bit more, I think you and I, well, in for a penny, in for a pound. We're here all weekend long, so don't you worry about us. But yes, at least 60 minutes to go in this match, and so I agree wholeheartedly that you can't gas yourself out in one quarter, you can't gas yourself out in two, and you've got to measure and kind of modulate that energy with the natural ebb and flows of the match.
Yep, they make sure they get the right positioning for everybody for the obligatory picture to start things out. And Dave Jordan, the captain for Cleveland. On the other side, Miguel Reyes wearing that red captain's armband for Amarillo. And it is just about time to get things started. And you see there in the picture that select soccer ball, that beautiful soccer ball, as they will be playing with that for all the semifinals. Today's match played with the official ball of MLIS, WMLIS, that is Select. Built for performance, precision, and durability. Select soccer balls are designed to elevate every level of the game. It's going to elevate the play we're about to see. Amarillo and Cleveland doing battle to close things out on semifinal Saturday. Teams will get their final instructions. Tanner, Looking forward to this one all day long. Just your final thoughts pregame before we get a chance to see what actually will transpire.
You've been looking forward to this all day long. I think you mean, if you're honest with us, all year long, as has everybody else around the two best clubs from last season. The finals matchup, the rematch, and we're getting it right here. Amarillo's the top overall seed, and the Cleveland Crunch is the most storied franchise. This is juicy, and it is, without much further pomp and circumstance, about to get it started. We've got all-time leaders, so many of them on this Cleveland side, because they've been around for all 4 years of MLIS. On Amarillo's side, well, they came in and kind of right away, they were, maybe people were a little bit down on them when they were just coming in, and then they started to see, early portion of last season, and then they get all the way to the final, they get all the way to the final, and there they are, they're champions.
You already see the respect between these teams. Yes, they want to win. They want to go to the championship match, but a fun little moment between Adrian Miller and Mikey Derizic to start, because, again, they know, both of these teams know what it's going to take. Seen very little involvement, I would say, throughout the day from the officials. I think this officiating crew is going to be much more on their P's and Q's, as this one will be tense from the jump. And here we go. The start of the final semifinal. Mikey Derizic with an opportunity that goes up and out of play. Crunch trying to get things started early.
Well, so Derizic there could have set another all-time record for the earliest goal in the history of an MLIS playoff game.
So Jose Chavez, they call him Fredo Chavez, there with Amarillo. He will get things going. Tanner, you talked about it earlier in the day as we were kind of previewing each match. We kind of sprinkled it in throughout all of our broadcasts. Defensively, this Amarillo team is strong.
Oh, yeah. It starts but does not in any way end in goal. Chavez, the goalkeeper, 4.78 goals against average. That was second in MLIS. 11 goals. Was the keeper of record in all 12 of their matches, and so that tied with Philip Zendlik of Toronto, as you do have a Cleveland player down quickly within a minute here.
Yeah, the clock will stop as they're going to bring out the training staff very quickly. I think that might be Mike Derizic, who took a shot into the wall. Officials thought not enough contact there for an actual foul call, but did see that head bang up against that wall, and you always have to be cautious anytime a head injury is suspected.
Yeah, I gotta say, Reyes got all that hit was worth out of it, and when you see the player go into the board, we just had one called in that last semifinal in the WMLIS. That's typically where you see the boarding call. No matter the severity of the contact, no matter the position of each player relative to the boards, it's just if they are kind of launched off their feet into the board at any point, you usually see the blue card thrown there, and then that would create the power play.
So concern now for Mikey Derizic, who is down still on the turf. Like you said, there was definitely more contact in this one without a card than we saw in the previous match with Chicago and Phoenix in the women's match. So, you know, there's going to be physicality. That's setting a precedent right there. I don't want to say, you know, use a head injury, a possible head injury to say we're setting a precedent. But if we're going shoulder-to-shoulder contact, we're allowing a little physicality, you're setting yourself up for a dangerous tone for both of these teams. All of these players and their safety, you're going to let contact go. These players are going to test that line as much as they possibly can early in this one.
Yes, they are. And let's call this what it is. Derizic has unbelievable foot skill. His talent is absurd. The availability has kind of been the only question for him. And that was not injury-related earlier in the year. That was suspension-related, right? That was the red card in that Chicago match that you did that one, right? Could you tell me more about that whole altercation?
Yes, we will. So there was a lot that happened there. There was a foul, a retaliation, a headbutt, a possible steel stanchion that may have been attempted to be thrown from one side to the other. I'm sure as we go, if we need any filler, which a lot of the action on the pitch is probably going to be enough here tonight, we will definitely tell more about that story. But Mikey Derzic was suspended for 4 games after his actions. It wasn't just 1 game for a red card. Actions went further beyond that and was suspended for 4 games. So I would think the veterans on this team, he is one of those. The fellow veterans need to get in his ear right now. He can't allow that to get in his mind and react that in a way that doesn't even allow him to come back if he's able to health-wise.
Yeah, that's right. That's like a huge concern all at once within the first minute of this match. And again, the talent it's always been so evident with him. And you have, Sulevic is the all-time leader in goals and points scored, but Derzic is there, and on a per-game basis is one of the biggest contributors in this league in its history.
So the high press now from the Crunch as they will, after dispossess Janis Schmidt, Tomasz Nagy in there right now. Piwu with it, far corner. He will try to clear. We'll see Piwu, who is supposed to be playing up top and forward. You will see him use that big body not only to score goals, but to help on defense, help with that physicality. The Amarillo, they know that, and they are going to try to use their strength as well. You look at Emmanuel Salaya. He's going to try to get up there and get in that tussle up top. Enrique Canye's, he's going to try to get up there. These are teams with some big body, and I mean like sturdy, good strength players back and forth. So a lot of those post-ups I think we saw earlier in the day, we're going to see a little bit more of that, but a little back and forth, I think, a little bit more here in this match. As Carter Hancock, who is a late addition to the game day roster here, unfortunately unavailable, is Ryan Minnick. So we'll keep our eye on that. If the Crunch are able to advance, if he were to stick around and be able to be available tomorrow, but we're a long way away from that. 12:08 to go, first quarter. No score between Cleveland and Amarillo. With a shot just past Mia McIntosh off the wall, and Chris Fecco wisely off his chest, able to give it to McIntosh. He was trying to find Bozak. Good job there from Pedro Francisco Castaneda to win that ball in the air. The Crunch do love that quick outlet pass. They don't use their keeper in the attack. They use those outlet passes from their goal mount. On the other side, Amarillo, they will use their keeper in attack when they can.
I was just about to say, that makes you in the minority in this league from what we've seen for most of this season. And in the South, maybe even more so, though Philip Zendelik, one of your best examples in the North, is that much of the, attacking kind of the way that you can really set yourself apart is to have a goalkeeper like this, Chavez, who comes out and takes some big strikes.
That one off the near post boards. Esteban will come and get it. He will wait for some support. It's around Mutemwa. Looking up top for Miguel Reyes, wearing that captain's armband. They'll get it back to Adrian Miller. Miller was part of that defense that really helped stem the tide with any sort of attack the Crunch had in that overtime championship match last season. Allowed Amarillo to score 3 goals in the overtime. Again, the rules state in overtime, if we ever see that situation in one of these matches, final matches with league final weekend, overtime is not golden goal in the postseason. You play out the entire overtime before a possible shootout scenario.
Let me ask you something. Going in to that match, the men's final last year, did everybody know it? Was everybody aware throughout the arena?
I have to say, as an announcer, I did not know.
Okay.
So I don't know that everybody was, but you see now the overtime rules posted up here on the screen. 1 10-minute period, no golden goal. If still tied, you get 5 seconds. I think it's 3 shooters for each squad, best out of 3 in a shootout variety.
And then if you don't get the winner there with the best out of 3, becomes sudden death. That's what we saw to nearly polish off the women's season between Chicago and Fort Wayne. And so it can happen. It was just the first time that it had ever happened in WMLIS, but I understand Cleveland is not really a stranger to the shootouts.
Fast-moving first quarter, McIntosh forced into a save to scoop it up in the middle of his box off the shot from Esteban. Amarillo not allowing the Crunch to get out of their own zone, and a shot and a goal. Cleverson Rodriguez pounces on the loose change. McIntosh is beat, and Amarillo strikes first.
Rodriguez was pouring it in last year in the postseason with 6 goals and an assist. Picks up where he leaves off here after picking up this ball. Falls straight to him. Gets a little bit of a nutmeg in there. Don't think we didn't see that. And polishes off the first score.
So Amarillo 1-0 over Cleveland. 9:28 to go, first quarter. They strike first. Crunch are seeing that high press done right back at them. You haven't seen a lot of teams bring that back at them. Should know how to deal with it after facing it in practice, but Amarillo more up to task so far. Mikey Derizic able to return. Admir Suljevic in the corner. And he goes down and they'll play on. Too much embellishment from the officials' liking. Tell him to play on. Has to be careful with his dissension or could face a 5-minute yellow card. Now the ball will be there with Reyes. Is dispossessed. Suljevic gives chase along the boards. They'll find Chavez and then give it off to Jose Lopez. Lopez to the far side and he'll get it right back. Cleveland already chasing the game. Amarillo doing exactly what they want to do, defending with numbers and taking advantage of opportunities when they present themselves.
Wasn't it funny? This club, the best defensive club in MLIS.
Save there by McIntosh right off his chest. But again, the concern right now is Cleveland can barely get out of their own half. Another shot, another save by McIntosh. Somehow, with the right mitt, pokes it down to the ground, able to pounce on it.
And now I'm hoping he'll allow me a moment to get to this. But McIntosh is like, hey, dude, I got a job to do here. And frankly, the train of thought's been derailed, Kevin. That's the worst thing because it's past our bedtimes, and I'm sorry I missed it. Oh, no. Oh.
So now they will play on. Crunch still cannot get much possession. Amarillo is taking advantage of that. Get a team on their heels. You have to capitalize on those opportunities. Amarillo is doing exactly that. Now, Chavez, the goalkeeper. Little chip. Hancock headed out. Landon Kuhn, one of the rookies, along with Hancock, that'll be part of the playoff roster. Not rostered on the game day today, but someone that can definitely score with the best of them. Jamin McCourt is an option there if they were to advance. But right now, their only focus in this one for both teams. Get past who's in front of us. And Amarillo, they feel like they have Cleveland's number. They've had a strong season, only suffering the one loss.
And that was to that Salt Lake City side that we saw earlier, who's already out of this one. Played Toronto tight in the second half, but eventually was overwhelmed, and Toronto got hot on attack. And that was even an 11-10 contest that was decided, I understand, by a game-winning shootout for Salt Lake City.
Again, the Crunch only clear it as far as midfield, and they are back on defense yet again. Continuing to rotate bodies in is Amarillo. They'll bring in David Treviso. Joined there by Adrian Miller, starting defender. Tomasz Nagy will give chase. Miller. You don't necessarily think he's got that kind of speed, but he does, and he can gain opportunities. This possession there, but look at all 5 black jerseys, black kits back behind the ball in front of the rookie. Carter Hancock, as he looked up, he saw nothing but black jerseys. Here's Brendan Swan. Those guys is not going to show up on the stat sheet all the time. Try to do everything he can to defend, get in front, and that'll take us to our first media timeout of the match. 5:47 left. Amarillo leads 1-0 over Cleveland, and they are in control. We'll be back right here with this semifinal matchup on the National Soccer Network. Back inside the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, the final semifinal of the night. Amarillo and Cleveland. Amarillo leads 1-0. Here comes Dave Jordan. Off the wall, nobody there. Bozak tries to win it, and he will be dispossessed. And here comes an attempt for Amarillo. But McIntosh wisely off his line as Darren Mitchell was on the attack. 5:33 left here in quarter number one as Chavez will collect. Ryan Glinsky is here with us as well. And the travel we've kind of talked about all day, an interesting story behind Amarillo.
Yeah, you would expect if you're driving 13 hours that, you know what, let's just take the flight. However, head coach Chad Webb, meeting with him yesterday, he says, you know what, we're going to drive this. We're going to drive 13 hours on the team bus. And he said he drove about 5 hours of the trip, and then the players kept alternating. I will say personally, I would have rather flown, but you don't get that team bonding on the bus trips. Maybe music, share a couple of laughs, make fun of each other. But again, interesting way for Amarillo to get here, and I kind of like it.
As Jordan had the attempt there, he was one-on-one with Chavez, elected to take that shot, I think, a little early, with Chavez staying back in net, and then players going down to the turf. It's getting physical out there as we expected. Castaneda undercut Jordan, but both taking the brunt of that contact, but everybody able to continue to play. Here comes Amarillo. Castaneda with it at midfield against Piwu. We'll go to the corner, and he'll look for Lopez. That one squirts back out. Amarillo stays on the attack. And Cleveland still just searching for any sort of offensive rhythm. Amarillo wisely seeing them confused by what they're throwing at them. They just keep on bringing it. Chavez now over to the far boards. Cleveland trying to bring that press higher and higher up the field. So far, Amarillo's been able to break it every single time. Chavez.
Let me tell you what I'm fascinated by, Kevin. That shot from David Jordan was the very first one. Wow.
Saved by McIntosh at full stretch off the foot of Luis Esteban. And he gets it back in prime position. The goal scorer is there with Rodriguez, Clayberson Rodriguez. Another shot from deep. McIntosh forced into a save, has to get off his line and clear. And we continue. Amarillo just peppering the nets of the Crunch. And finally, out of play it goes. Crunch breathe a sigh of relief there. They have no answers right now, Tanner.
They don't, and I'm stunned, but Mr. Liam McIntosh in goal says, all right, then this one's on me. Then I will step up like never before, and he's single-handedly kind of keeping them in this right here. That one shot from David Jordan, that's what I wanted to get to, is nearly 12 minutes in. That's the only shot Cleveland's registered.
Another shot that goes out of play off the foot of Roberto Escalante. Roberto Carlos Escalante Medina is the goal shooter there that goes out of play. But if you want to watch plays that you have seen in this match, make sure you watch. Don't just watch it, capture it. Download Rematch, the free sports highlight app that makes it easier than ever to record the biggest moments using AI technology. Allows you to save the play after it happens. From goals to game-changing saves that we've already seen in this match, you can capture it all right from your seat. Clips are instantly visible, ready to share, and you might just see your highlight featured on social media. Download Rematch today. Player down for Amarillo, and they will allow him to get up. That might be Celaya.
It's Kanyes. You got Kanyes getting whacked by Jordan.
Gotcha. Kanyes, yep. He was able to get up. Kind of saw the official go to check on him as soon as he got word from Kanyes. Told the trainers, hold on. We're going to play on here. So now, under 2.5 to go. 2:22 left in quarter number one. 1-0 Amarillo leads. Feels like they have a lot more. Suljevic will get called for the pullback on Celaya.
Well, so now teams might actually have to start thinking about this foul count a little bit. You mentioned that S word, shootout, and we haven't seen one yet.
Another shot coming in. That one goes off the outside of the foot of Celaya. Goes just wide, but they'll still stay with it. Frustration starting to set in with the Crunch. Exactly what Amarillo wants. You don't need to always get under your opponent's skin by extracurricular activities. You can do it with your play. Amarillo is doing a fantastic job of that. Forcing the Crunch to defend, forcing them to drain their energy tanks a lot faster.
Yeah, I agree. It's an agitated Cleveland side. Look, we've seen this not that long ago. You remember that match over in Chicago? Again, I was fortunate enough to be there in Chicago for that one, and I felt that as Chicago really climbed back in that one, that came all the way back to a 9-8 contest from, at times, a 5-goal lead from Cleveland. I felt that, man, that's the best way I could put it, an agitated Cleveland side, that they're not happy with where they're at, and it's kind of leaking into their play here for this first quarter.
Olivas now will set the point on offense. He'll be joined by Macias. As Bobby Chanchar, good to see him. If you're an MLIS fan, good to see a great defender like him able to come back from a devastating injury earlier on in the season. Someone the Crunch are going to rely on if they're going to see this type of offensive attack against them. Here comes McIntosh out of the goal mount, which you don't typically see, but you might need a little bit more of that just to make Amarillo think a little bit. Mutemwa will get his arm pulled, and it'll be a restart for Cleveland.
Yeah, Ricardo Macias with the arm bar, looking to get the submission, I think.
Mutemwa, too much individual play. They will call that back for a foul on Mutemwa. Mutemwa has great individual foot skill, but at times it gets team in trouble if you try to take on too many defenders all at once. Now under 30 seconds to go in the first quarter. 1-0 Amarillo. This one goes off the wall. McIntosh forced to come out. Here comes Tomasz Nagy, newcomer to the team this year. He'll find Derizic. Derizic takes a little bit of a bump. Crunch will continue to play. Try to get an opportunity before the quarter closes. Najar down the boards, trying to find Kuhn. Kuhn tries to get it, gets blocked away. A little bit better on the offensive attack from the Crunch there. And then that will close quarter number one. A fast-moving first quarter, but complete domination. The 1-0 score does not indicate how dominant Amarillo was. It is the lone goal for Cleberson Rodriguez that is the difference as we head to the quarter break right here on the National Soccer Network. Second quarter of the final semifinal of the day about to get started, as it is a rematch of last year's championship match here in the semis between Amarillo and Cleveland. Amarillo absolutely dominating that first quarter, only able to put one goal home, but making the Crunch use a lot of energy defensively and found no offensive rhythm. I am Kevin Arnold. He is Tanner White. We are also joined by Ryan Glinsky on the broadcast here on the National Soccer Network for MLIS WMLIS League Finals weekend, as we are underway and Amarillo will be in possession. McIntosh quickly gets it from his counterpart, Chavez. He'll try to outlet, and that goes out of play, and that will be one of those clearance violations. It'll go to the top of the box.
Yep, glad you said it. That little false start signal from the referees, rolling one hand over the other. You get this advantageous free kick here. Top of the arc, let's see, on the set piece.
Amarillo loving to take these set pieces a little bit faster, even before their opponents can get set defensively. Here comes the attempt, and just off the upper corner, another shot. Good block by Carter Hancock. Woodward kind to the Crunch again, just on their heels the entire time, and it is courtesy of Amarillo, and really the igniter is Luis Esteban, who is just in possession, loses it. Crunch will try to come on the other way, but Luis Esteban setting the point, allowing the big guys to work up top. And that helped lead to Cleberson Rodriguez with that high press, getting a goal-scoring opportunity, and that's where we sit 1-0.
And Coach Chad Webb told us when we met with him this weekend, he said Esteban's one of those guys that I really like as an X factor. He also identified Fredo Chavez not just as a goalkeeper, but also getting involved in the attack, because everybody knows that Chavez can bang him through too when he needs to, and saved a couple of shootouts in the playoffs last year that he ranted and raved about. He said that's actually one of the places where I feel the best about my goalkeeper is when he's facing a shootout. Never heard a coach say that before, probably never will again, but that's how Chavez is.
Frustration already starting to sink into the Crunch, as there's some animated conversation between players up top and Liam McIntosh. Now here comes Sujovic, won the MVP of the league the last 2 years, did deal with groin injury that made him miss a few games. Omar Najjar, poor first touch. Chavez able to just collect. Just right now, the Crunch just searching for longer stretches. Of the soccer ball at their feet. Amarillo doing what they need to do. Just you can see the difference right now, Tanner, in comfortability, being uncomfortable between these two squads. There's a lot of just like, see with Cleveland, the head just kind of goes back every single time there's a mistake. Amarillo, as soon as that ball's back in play, head down, eyes up, looking for teammates, moving it side to side, and taking advantage of it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. There is an air of uncomfortability. I think you hit on that. I think that's one of the words. And then still, I kind of drift back toward agitation, I think is one of the first things that I said in the first quarter. We're like, this club could, explode, and not necessarily in a good way, not explode scoring a bunch of goals. At some point, does that very first goal on the scoreboard on your side make a huge difference and let out a ton of that pressure? My guess is yes.
And we even talked to Coach Webb about pressure. This team started the season anxious. Felt like the pressure was weighing them down. I kind of enlightened him on a phrase of, pressure will either burst the pipes or it'll make diamonds. And so far this season, they got through their early stretch. They've dealt with the pressure. Not saying the pressure is fully gone, but they now know how they now know how to handle it when the target is on their back and get an 11-1 season. You come into this game fully confident. You don't need necessarily all the extracurricular jumping around before the game and all of that type of stuff. You know exactly what you need to do. Like right there, Adrian Miller knows exactly where that ball is going and gets in the way.
And did you like when I was kind of trying to draw up a headline and play it up a little bit, talking with Coach Chad Webb? And then I said, hey, so would you want, if you could have chosen and had the season to do all over again and you could pick your matchup, would you want this finals rematch with Cleveland, or would you want somebody else in this field? And then Chad says to me, well, we wouldn't pick to play anybody because these are all good teams in this playoff. And I said, absolutely they are. And he's right in that. But I don't know. Were you surprised by the answer that he gave too? I thought he was going to lean all into it.
I wasn't, because, Coach Chad Webb is smart, and, as much as broadcasters, when we ask questions, you want the answer. You want to get everything from that person right away. He was very good at balancing being forthright and open and up front like he is as a person. Also keeping things behind, as McIntosh with a kick save and then pops on top of it as it kicked back to Darren Mitchell, but popped off of his foot, and McIntosh forced in to another save situation.
I tell you what I think it is. I think the club goes as he goes, and I think they are measured. In everything that they do, I think it is plotted down to a T. I think it's measured.
Well, it's definitely been a measured attack through the first 20 minutes of this match. And now McIntosh caught out, just gets back, fends it away. Swan putting his body in the way, getting in front of Rodriguez. The only goal scored coming off of his foot. The 95 kit for Amarillo. Nagy, Spragling, they battle on the boards. Thank everybody that has tuned in already. Some record numbers. Here's Mikey Derazic trying to get a touch. Gives a little applause to his teammates, finding him in that situation. Not able to get a touch on that one. Kind of saw that with Toronto, and Leifert Allen, who came in as, comes off the bench, and he's a leader for Toronto. He had great scoring opportunities. Just, when the day is just not yours, good thing is his team won. It's just that half a fraction of an inch. Those types of things. He was just off by that little. It was a very similar situation with Derazic there.
It was, and again, easy to be frustrated when you were, no matter if you were kind of in on that scoring party or not, but you'd love to still join in on it at some point.
Dave Jordan not happy with the call there. Watched games through the MLIS this season. Seen games where, teams, they start to focus more on calls they're not getting, things like that, instead of what's going on the field. Here comes Esteban, dispossessed Suljevic, and he comes right back to win that one. Mutemwa pulls it back. He'll find Suljevic. Now to Najjar. Najjar, touch just off of his reach, and that's what's happening right now. Just that extra little touch, or just that fraction off on touches, not allowing them to do exactly what they wanted to. Najjar wanted to get a quick pass off that wall, had to try to speed up his process in that regard. Now Amarillo comes back. McIntosh forced to come out. Good defense there by Nagy. Bodies hit the turf. We play on. 8-11 left in quarter number 2. It is 1-0 Amarillo. Definitely with the shooting edge in this one. McIntosh has been up to task outside of the one goal scored by Cleberson Rodriguez, begging for some help and some time away from his goal area. That one stays in play. Again, we're seeing that nice backspin from these Select soccer balls. You see why they chose Select as the official game ball. Ball staying in play when it was very easy to go out and play along those sidelines with those short boards. Adrian Miller with a shot. Punched away by McIntosh. Only back to Adrian Miller. Now Esteban at the point. Under 7.5 to go. Esteban looking. Found Rodriguez. Now back to Miller. Miller, far side. Amarillo is getting into the middle of the pitch very easily, much to the disdain of head coach Antonio Manfoot of Cleveland. Opportunity there, ball loose. Here's Landon Kuhn. And the poor first touch, now it's Schmidt. Comes off his foot, nobody there in front of net. That was a goal scoring opportunity. Now the Crunch stay with it. Little energy coming there now that they've been able to withstand that initial burst of Amarillo. But Kuhn be called for the foul, puts his arms up in the air, but it would look like it would be the media timeout, but it is not. We will play on here, up to the officials' discretion.
Yeah, they never ask us, Kevin. I've noticed that. They don't ask us when we want it. I find that strange.
I find it strange, but I bet I've gotten to the point. Don't ask questions. Just roll with the punches, roll with the action. As Spragling trying to find Mutemwa. Good job there by Lopez to head it back to his keeper. And now here comes Chavez into the attack. Up the near boards. Read there by Schmidt. Finds Mutemwa. Mutemwa with 2, now 3 defenders in front of him, waiting for some help just behind Spragling. Game of inches. Talk about that in American football. It can be that way in a lot of sports, especially the original football we call soccer here in the United States. Now here comes Amarillo. Darren Mitchell off the bench with the shot, and it goes out of play, touches that net. Here comes that media timeout. 6.5 to play, quarter number 2. Amarillo 1, Cleveland nothing. We got a good one on our hands. Come back with us right here on the National Soccer Network. Back inside Orleans Arena. 5:38 to go here in quarter number 2. Amarillo 1, Cleveland nothing. This is the MLIS. You can catch, of course, the championship for the WMLIS tomorrow and throughout the years, looking to expand. Don't miss the moment of the action. Follow Women's Major League Indoor Soccer on your favorite social media platform at WMLIS. Crunch with an opportunity. We'll get back to celebrating the women here in just a second. Again, that's WMLIS Pro on social media. Again, these players not allowing the sponsor reads to get in as the
Shame on them, Kevin.
action goes end to end. But that's why they brought us in here to bring the action to you. Stay updated with game highlights, player spotlights, live updates, and exclusive behind-the-scenes content. Be a part of the excitement. Suljevic. He goes down, holding his ankle. The ball's in the back of the net. Now Jordan jawing. I think that might be Diaz. Jawing back and forth with Jordan. Suljevic, meanwhile, writhing in pain on the ground. Swan sent it down to Jordan. Jordan goes down. That one gets chipped to the back of the net.
My question, are they throwing a card or at least getting a foul first on the contact for Diaz, which would waive the goal from Suljevic off? And I think the answer is maybe. And I don't think anybody really knows for certain.
Interesting decision here. No goal. Suljevic will limp off, so it will be, they are calling it back for the foul. Seen a lot of contact today. That is a quick whistle, if I will say. Now, again, the ball is going backwards, though. It's not going forward to play an advantage, so they're going for the contact with a goal-scoring opportunity with Jordan. So you have to agree with that decision. Jordan will now call a timeout as the Crunch will take a chance to get a play set up, which allows me to finish talking to you about the WMLIS. Of course, the exclusive behind-the-scenes content. Be a part of the excitement and support women's indoor soccer, WMLIS. Of course, the action will be there tomorrow. Now, as we sit here with a timeout, back here in the broadcast booth, I'm Kevin Arnold. He is Tanner White. Ryan Glinsky is here as well, and Ryan, Amarillo in the lead. Their coach, Chad Webb. Boy, oh boy, did we have a fun time talking to him. He dropped a lot of good information on us throughout the week.
Yeah, he was an absolute blast to have an interview with. And I asked Chad, I go, if you were to ask if you have the first-time viewer to see Amarillo play soccer, what are some of the takeaways you'd want that fan to have? And he said, fun, fast-paced, flying attack, and really good defense. And he mentioned that if the offense is not clicking for us, if we can't get anything effective and consistently offensively, you've got to lock in defensively and get all of our forwards back. So far, there's been a couple of chances for Cleveland, but every single time it feels like when Cleveland's got that little slim chance of hope and that little sliver of space to get a great chance going for them, they lock it down and they block every single shot and make it really difficult for this Cleveland Crunch team. And I think we're seeing that here today, and that message go across to his team.
Yeah, and we even brought it up. Good point there, Ryan, and thank you, because, the transition we saw, I think it was either Carter Hancock, the rookie, or, one of the rookies that was in a situation where he looked up. He saw all 5 players, field players for Amarillo, back behind the ball before he could even get the first touch on it. As the Crunch come out of the timeout, and they will have their set piece. See what they draw up. Derizic with a touch. Adrian Miller takes down Derizic. Derizic, I think, sticking that leg just a little bit further out, knowing the contact was coming. As the touch kind of went just awry, both feet arrived, both left feet of both players arrived at the same time. As Derizic was attacking, though, he gets the advantage there. Now it'll be Jordan over this set piece. Concern now will be for the leader offensively, Admir Suljevic, limped off the field. Here comes Jordan. Derizic with the right foot, save, Chavez. Jordan just rips above the boards. He stays on it, and he will try to find a teammate, telling Jordan to get up off the turf. 4.5 to go now here in quarter number 2. No goals as of yet. Amarillo still holding on to that 1-0 lead. Knew this one was going to be tight. The way that the first quarter went, you would have expected to see more goals scored. Another errant pass. Been an issue for the Crunch. Setting up for a big-time shot there. Won't take it. So it's Diaz. Diaz with the left foot. Another block. He was one of the league leaders this season, was Jordan. Now Tomasz Nagy. Nagy, good tackle there coming in. Couldn't see who exactly that was.
I believe you had 32, Medina for Amarillo.
Medina gets that tackle, but the Crunch are back on it. Tomasz Nagy, another save from Chavez. Piwu trying to get in there. So a little energy infused to that Crunch sideline. Just not able to capitalize yet. Svetko goes down. And Miguel Reyes will be called for that foul. Quick rotations for both teams, trying to keep players as fresh as possible. Nagy, you see that. Yep, that was Roberto Carlos Escalante coming in with a great sliding tackle, just timed at the perfect moment. Second quarter continues. 1-0 Amarillo over Cleveland. Cleveland a little more possession, narrowing that gap of possession percentage here in quarter number 2, but no goals to show for it. That one goes off the wall. Piwu to Bozak. Chavez just enough again, standing on his head here in the first half. Clock ticks. Quarter number 2. Nearing halftime. Surprised at home with only 1 goal on the board. Sure, a lot of us are too, but Amarillo, the best defensive team there. Crunch feel like their defense is on point with that. Right now, the advantage offensively to Amarillo. It's really their defense that led to that one score with that high press, forcing the mistake from Cleveland. A Bozak giving chase. Chavez, very comfortable with the ball at his feet. Will send it up the boards. Reyes, not able to control. Chanchar. What a turn by Kuhn, the rookie. He'll take a shot. Chavez off the wall, and then Mutemwa not able to direct it home. Chavez got just enough and put it off the post. What a shot from Kuhn. Now here comes Piwu using that big body. He will find Kuhn again. Now on the right side. Looking for a shot, was looking for Piwu that time. Little behind him. Crunch stay in possession. Mutemwa, step over, left foot, and a goal! Sammy Mutemwa, where did that come from? There was so much traffic in front of him. Mutemwa finds the equalizer.
Look, he just shot this from the Eastern time zone, and he knocks this in Vegas.
The knuckle on that, the movement. Mutemwa gets the Crunch back. And you have to feel a little bit better for Cleveland, but you have to also admit Amarillo still feels like that controlling force. These next 2 minutes to close out this half, very vital. Amarillo, I'm sure, is going to go for a quick scoring opportunity here if they can get one.
Of course, Kevin, within this 2 minutes, it's a really crucial time. If you're going to get your sort of 2-minute drill on, and if everybody's going to avoid those 6 fouls and be just relieved when that foul count resets so you escape the shootout, well, then the biggest sighs of relief are going to be heard.
A lot of contact along those far boards for both teams. I wouldn't be surprised if both of them are asking where's the foul. Now, Giannis Schmidt in his second year. That one blocked away by Darren Mitchell. Good positioning defensively. Seen a couple scoring opportunities for Mitchell as well, but he is also known for getting that body in the way. We talked about Dave Jordan getting the blocks. Mitchell with a good one there. Now, closing in on a minute left. Sujovic from Derizic outside the foot, hits the inside the post, then Derizic hits the other one! 2 golden opportunities and off the foot of Sujovic. And now it'll be a timeout for Amarillo to slow things down. Feeling that momentum swing. Sujovic goes outside the foot, skips it across the turf, hits the near post. Then Derizic goes for a half volley and hits the outside post. Man, oh man, we are definitely being treated to exactly what we thought. Back and forth we're going right now, and both teams talking it out. I think a very smart timeout, though, for Amarillo here, Tanner, as the Crunch are starting to get those opportunities that they like to. Once one goes in, then it's a domino effect. Amarillo very wise to take a timeout.
Yes, you regroup, you catch your breath, you make sure you've got no tired legs. You obviously get guaranteed substitution at timeouts, and it all probably plays to your favor when Chavez, the keeper, will restart this. 39 seconds can be a ton of time, of course, in the indoor game. I was going to say, even in the outdoor game, 39 seconds can still be a lot of time. But out of that restart, I think that is exactly the reason why, is Amarillo just unwilling in any way to give up a go-ahead score to Cleveland. And if they can get any opportunities of their own, get even, probably within these 39-second shots off a single shot on goal, they'll probably feel that, okay, this is very successful. This is a good possession for us. And Chavez, the keeper, traveling back to his goal area, I think that's the biggest thing, too, is getting that moment to breathe. He was clearly a little juiced up and a little shell-shocked maybe from the balls rattling those posts.
I don't know about anybody else, but I have goosebumps right now from the quality of soccer we are getting on both sides. I don't care who I called games for this season. It doesn't matter. Amarillo, an excellent team. We're getting quality football from them. Cleveland, of course, has that pedigree. But now, Jordan wisely heads it back to McIntosh. seconds left here in half number 1. Header to Giannis Schmidt from Najar, and that will be a foul called on Amarillo. And they're looking for the card for a dive. I think it will be a foul on Amarillo. Is that the 6th foul? Do we have a shootout here for Cleveland?
Everybody always dials in on that foul count, but it is not quite foul number 6. That should be 5 on the half.
So actually possession to Amarillo on that one. So wisely did see some embellishment there. Referees on top of it. I think they were well educated on what type of match this was going to be. Amarillo looking for one final opportunity. Good shot, good save from McIntosh. Great save, or great shot from distance. Here's Chavez looking for one more. And then that will do it for half number 1. Are you entertained at home like we are here in the studio? And we still got 30 more minutes of this to go. Who knows? If we stay tied somehow, some way, we might get free soccer out of this. But for right now, only guaranteed 30 more minutes. 1-1 our score. Nothing decided. We will send it to Ryan Glinsky out of this timeout for the halftime recap. Tanner White, myself, Kevin R will be back. Get it all set for you for the second half right here on the National Soccer Network.
Back live in our NSN studios. It's halftime of semifinal number 4 here on semifinal Saturday for the Major Indoor Soccer League. And my name is Ryan Glinsky. Halftime report here. It is 1-1 between two heavyweights, two teams with championship pedigree, and two teams that faced off in the Major League Indoor Soccer Finals a year ago. Let's take a look at the two goals that we saw here in this first half. It all started with Amarillo getting on the score sheet first with Rodriguez, who grabbed his first goal Eric grabbed the first goal of the game, and it was all Amarillo in that whole first half, that whole first quarter. Then all of a sudden, Cleveland would score an unbelievable strike from Sammy Mutemwa. An unbelievable strike. You gotta look at that one again. It's an unbelievable strike. Putting it in the top corner, unbelievable strike with his left foot. A fantastic finish from him. But Cleveland in that first quarter, in that first majority of the whole first half, it felt like Amarillo was going to overload them, score a ton of goals with an avalanche. But you know what? Liam McIntosh keeping the crunch in the game, and eventually Cleveland started to take over in the second quarter towards the later edge of the first quarter, or in the second quarter rather. And everyone thought maybe that they should have had a goal with Stohojevic, but that was called back for a foul. I'm going to disagree with our commentator, Kevin Arnold. I thought they should have given it to him. It should have been advantage given to him. I'm going to disagree with Kevin on that one. I'm sure he's going to have some words in the second half on the commentary. But I'm going to disagree with him. I think it should have been awarded a goal. Let the advantage play out. But anyway, an unbelievable first half. And if that first half and the second half is anything like that first half, you're in store for a great finish, as we're going to take a break here and head back out to the commentators. So you're watching Major League Indoor Soccer on the National Soccer Network.
Authentic Mexican flavor made fresh from scratch. Every ingredient prepared with real Mexican tradition. Your bowl, your rules. Visit us at one of our Cleveland locations.
Built on service, driven by integrity, trusted through compassion. They serve, we honor. They commit, we care. They sacrifice, we heal. At Apex Skin, a veteran-owned practice, we proudly give back to those that gave so much by offering free scar revisions through our Purple Heart Project. Trusted care for every journey. Visit apexskin.com/care to schedule your appointment today.
Freshly chopped. Perfectly topped. Fresh chips. Creamy queso. Feeling thirsty? Try one of our signature drinks. Mexican classics? Always.
Liberty Home Mortgage is kicking off a new sponsorship with Cleveland Crunch.
We're revolutionizing the way mortgage lending is done today.
Looking to purchase or refinance a home? We'll find the best solution for you.
Come see how Liberty Home Mortgage is changing the game.
Time to register.
Sign up now for Bart's account.
about ready to start the second half as we look at the equalizing goal for Cleveland to get some momentum back off the left foot of Sammy Mutemwa. Top bins, as they say, and we welcome you back here inside the broadcast booth. I am Kevin Arnold alongside Tanner White, Brian Glinsky along with us as well, and we are far from decided here in this one. This day has evolved and transitioned into, we've seen record-breaking performances to start the day and just fantastic football throughout, and we have 30 more minutes of it between Amarillo and Cleveland. Tanner, just your thoughts in that first half, kind of a tale of two different quarters there.
It was no secret that Amarillo was on their front foot in that first quarter. Cleveland, with that equalizer from Mutemwa, you knew that held a lot of weight. You knew that up until that goal, they weren't comfortable. You knew that they started to feel the queasies, and they started to get the feeling in the pits of their stomachs. And we've seen this before, and this team beat us in the final last year, and we are not playing our best in this match. Let's not make a secret of that. That bomb from Mutemwa, that from the opposite time zone, that really changed things a whole lot. It's all well and good, but you got to continue to do that for a whole 30 more minutes.
Got to do that for 30 more minutes, and just about ready to start. There is still conversations. We went to the halftime break with, these teams having less time in the locker rooms because there was conversations going on, and now those conversations continue. Luis Esteban talking with one of the officials. Adrian Miller was in there as well. So, they are trying to get a point across from the Amarillo side. Cleveland was in the ear of the officials, and there was a whole lot of action, but only 2 goals scored, the fewest we have seen all day. And here we go, third quarter underway as Chavez will take the early restart from Cleveland, and Amarillo will steal possession back.
You know what I'm so happy about throughout this day so far is that we've had so much variety in our matches. You know what I mean? You had a 18-goal margin in the first one. You had a 6 and a 1 goal margin already, and everything's just played out so differently. I don't think maybe you could have predicted a couple of the winners, but I don't think you could have predicted the stories of these games at all.
A chip from Derazic into the back of the net. Mikey Derazic. Oh my word. Saw Chavez off his line. The perfect weight, and you get the perfect weight on a chip like that, Tanner, when it doesn't hit the ground until it touches the net.
That's a longest drive contest, and he's taking first place. He's taking home a cash prize. Yeah, but it's the risk that the goalkeepers know that they're running in this league and in this game, Kevin.
So Mikey Derazic gets the crunch on the board, strikes first here in the second half. It is now 2-1. Amarillo will look to answer as they have Rodriguez, their goal scorer, out there right now. And now the crunch win possession back again. Here is Najjar. Good block defensively. And then Najjar try to go for a diving header. Dangerous play there around the goalkeeper. Luckily, no contact made. Good job by Escalante to win that one back to his keeper.
So you're telling me it took Cleveland over 28 minutes to get a goal in the entire first half, and it takes them 40 seconds in the third quarter. Is that what you mean to tell me, Kevin?
It's kind of how that can be how they are. Shot coming in from deep goes over McIntosh. That is off the foot of Jose Lopez. There's times when they can go on a run of 5 or 6 goals in a hurry. Other times they just go quiet, and that's where I think Amarillo, they kind of steadily build their opportunities through a game. Sometimes Cleveland will go on a run, inconsistent runs between those, and I think that's what helped lead to 2 of their losses this year. There was some runs, but also, going quiet too long. As that one, Carter Hancock couldn't get it. Giannis Schmidt on it. And now here comes Brendan Swan to Aiden Bozak.
And on that note of going quiet, so sorry, Kevin, it was the exact same thing in the Chicago match. Again, they went over to Chicago needing to clinch in that one, knowing that you win and you're in to Las Vegas. You can book all your flights, you can book the hotels, and get everybody there and just settle that part down because it was in doubt at that time. Pittsburgh and Chicago were still pushing them. Then they let Chicago bring that all the way back at 1 point, 7-2. That finishes a 9-8 match. You were just surprised. At some point, you're thinking, well, who's Cleveland's closer? They got to close this thing out. And then they really did struggle to do that. So it's a very different story of this match, but it could still play out the same way where they need a knockout punch when they're up.
Wise man once said, nothing given, everything earned in the city of Cleveland. Sometimes, you can't book a flight till you earn the flights, and, some of that thought process creeped in. Cleveland, of course, ended up taking care of business, but now, again, against the team that knocked them out in the championship last year, Amarillo, they lead 2-1, 12:07 left here in the third. A lot of match still to play. Amarillo now being a little more patient in their attack. Jordan took down Reyes. He gets the call and going the other way. Good tackle off the foot of Macias.
I love to see neither player clamoring for the foul there because they knew that they were kind of going to whack each other. And Dave Jordan, right, he's been doing that. That is just, it's the level of physicality and it's the level of respect for each other and for the game that I'd love to see and that we're getting here on this championship weekend.
So Chavez up near midfield. He will send it back to Adrian Miller, who rotated back. Now he'll press high to Rodriguez. Rodriguez cuts back to his left, back to his right. Najjar stays in front. He has been a steady force in his 3 seasons. Burst onto the scene in his first one. Last year had a record year in points for himself. That shot goes just high. Treviso. Amarillo stays on it.
And on that note, of course, the all-time record holder in goals and points is Edmir Suljevic, right? I think it's easy to forget that sometimes. Yes, most of those all-time leaders are dotted with Cleveland Crunch players, partly because of that fact that they've stuck around and they're accumulators. They've got the 4 seasons of MLIS under their belt, one of just 2 original members. But it's also this MVP-level standard that Suljevic holds himself to and expects of himself, and as does everybody else.
There comes Treviso. Just enough of a tackle there from Schmidt. Got ball first. Now here comes Nagy and Schmidt. Schmidt with a shot that goes high. Got underneath that one. You could see it coming all the way. He was leaning back as before the ball even got to him. Now McIntosh will find Nagy yet again. Nagy to his right foot. Try to cut it off the wall. Trying to find Schmidt. Only as far as Suljevic. Far side. Back to midfield to Sveko. Talk about a steady force, steady hand, steady head. That is Chris Sveko. Never complained about coming off the bench, being in that rotation. Just does what he needs to do in his shift, gets off and helps lead the young players, communicates on the bench. Now here comes McIntosh. Adrian Miller, I would say, is a player like that for Amarillo. You see him talking all the time. Bozak with a shot. Chavez able to pop it up into the air and corral it. Bozak not getting enough of it. Like I said, Adrian Miller, you see him talking all the time, Tanner, and that's not just, it's not talking smack. It's not anything like that. It is, I know how this team can get the win. I know how this team can have success. Listen to me because you see what I'm doing. You can also listen to my words and follow my example.
You know something on that last save from Chavez as he flipped it up to himself? I tell you what I was reminded of. You remember that old Santana and Rob Thomas track, Smooth?
Yes.
Fredo Chavez is the smoothest keeper in this league, is he not?
He is. He is. Here comes Esteban trying to find a goal. That one goes just wide. Was that Rodriguez down there in the near corner? Pops all the way down to the smooth operator in Chavez.
I don't know that we've been off track on any of the pop culture references so far, I hope. I don't know. I expect to hear all about that in the comments later on. And the generational gaps that I'm sure we will run into at some point here across what has been a massive audience. I think we should hit on that again. You've said it, record numbers.
Record numbers, 16,000 I think we've seen here. Esteban goes wide. 16,000 viewers during this game. Everybody was anticipating this one, but we saw big numbers for all 4 matches here this afternoon and evening. Derzic battles along the boards, and then contact, and not happy with the officials. But you have to say, both teams not happy with the officials, but we said it from the outset. They were starting with 70,000 total viewers, by the way. Our production director, John Turner, just told us as well. But we said it from the outset. They were letting them play. They were going to allow some contact. We saw that hit into the wall from Derzic. I think that they stayed pretty consistent with that. There's Najjar trying to clear. Only goes as far as Roberto.
And you say consistent, you mean across the entire weekend. So
shot, goal! Oh my goodness, how quick things can turn. Pedro Francisco Castaneda put respect on his name as he ties the match. Good give and go there, and he knows exactly what to do with it.
As long as you can say it all in one breath, you go ahead, Kevin. That's a difficult one. The Ciudad Juarez Chihuahua native. And this was another one of those guys from the MASL club, the Chihuahua Savage. That club not competing in the MASL this season. And so tons and tons of former champions from the Chihuahua Savage here find themselves all harmoniously in the same spot. And many of them also Ciudad Juarez natives. A couple from Hermosillo, Sonora as well in Mexico.
So now play will be stopped. And we will go to the media timeout. 2-2 our score. Derzic with a cracker of a goal. Now Castaneda with an absolute rocket into the top corner. 2 fantastic goals. We saw 2 fantastic in the first half as well. 6:43 on the clock. We'll be back with more third quarter action on the National Soccer Network. Back inside the Orleans Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada, Sin City as they call it. And right now, deuces on the board for both sides. Here comes Landon Kuhn. That one gets deflected. Header off of Piwu. And it goes just wide and then out of play. Right now, since the ball is out of play, Ryan Glinsky, Cleveland talked about their approach last season and this season, and I think we're seeing that pay dividends here in this match.
Yeah, Cleveland mentioned in our pre-production meeting this week that they felt a little bit too comfortable last year. Of course, being the reigning champs at home, they felt a little bit too comfortable. This year, they're taking a much more aggressive approach. I think it's paying off. And fellas, by the way, I just need a hangover mention in this one since we're in Las Vegas. I need a hangover quote in this broadcast for a lot of different ones here today. I'm hoping for a hangover one.
I tell you what, Ryan, I will personally promise this. I'm not going to leave this tremendous weight on your shoulders, Kevin. I will personally promise that I'll take care of it. You got me, Ryan?
Yeah, I got you.
All right.
I got you.
Thanks so much, buddy.
Ball out of play. It'll be Amarillo's ball. This is of course, the clearance violation. So it'll go back to the top of the box. Talked about it all night. You see those arms kind of going as if train rolling down the tracks. Luis Esteban goes to his left, and that one goes high and out of play from Amarillo. But that means that Clearance goes out of play when you're kind of in that central portion of the pitch right there with the box area. Sets up a dangerous set piece for the opponents. No one able to capitalize just yet in those situations.
Little did you know, the most valuable men in this match would be the ones going to retrieve the ball when it's gone through the goal like that and way out of play.
Well, they're doing an excellent job of doing so, and I have to say, being and watching this league and watching the games, there is no souvenirs to the fans. Fans do a very good job of getting it back in play. They very smart fans. They understand. McIntosh forced to punch that one out of play, and it'll be a corner for Amarillo.
I hope that the Fort Wayne keeper Jonathan Mendoza is watching, because he did try to create a souvenir one time. One of those where he got the yellow for, perhaps tossing the ball maybe lightly off of the pitch in frustration. I hope the man's watching, and Jonathan, we recall that, and that was in fact in the match in Cleveland. That's why I say that.
About 5 minutes left here in quarter number 3. Nothing decided. Pee-woo almost with a high boot there. Shot off the wall. Now a volley. Svetko takes the brunt of that one. And out of play it goes. With the deflection, we'll put that back there along the far boards. Pee-woo again almost making contact.
A decapitation attempt, if you will.
Now McIntosh sees that one all the way into his mitts. I won't put that on Pee-woo's plate just then, but hey, never know what's going through someone's mind. Not a mind reader. Stuff with ESPN, but I have no ESP. That's for sure.
You've used that on air on the radio, yes? Oh, not yet?
No, I feel like that's the dad in me, the dad jokes coming out a little bit as we get late into the night. Shot from Rodriguez off the near post. McIntosh again jumps up and saves it off the foot of Treviso.
Mr. Iron Jaw, did he wear that in the face on the second?
It looked like it. Now Treviso step over with the left foot. Good deflection from Swan, helping out his keeper. And then that one sent out of play. Take a look here. And Clayberson Rodriguez has got his shooting boots on tonight. That one deflected into the post and right off the middle of the chest, but it sure looked like a shot to the face for sure.
It's still your center mass. That's trying to poke a hole in him.
It's like on a pogo stick, able to bounce off the turf that quickly to get that save from Treviso. 2-2 our score here in quarter number 3. A lot of scoring opportunities for both teams. Both goalkeepers standing on their heads, defense doing what they need to. When up to task, when questions are asked of both defenses, both are finding some answers. It's going to take something spectacular to finish this one off, and it's very similar to what we saw last year. Now, there was more goals scored, of course. 7-7 going into overtime when Amarillo scored 3 out of the 4 goals we saw in overtime and won 10-8. But very similar. Both teams could not separate themselves from each other till that overtime period.
And it was Sulevic that registered that buzzer beater right to get the one on the board for Cleveland?
I believe so. I believe it was off the foot of Suljevic. But Amarillo, again, coming into the enemy's house. It was supposed to, it's considered a neutral site. First time that indoor soccer had been back at the Wolstein Center, formerly known as the Cleveland Convocation Center, since the early 2000s. Of course, indoor soccer in Cleveland started with the Force, switched over to the Crunch, and then there was a couple more years before the organization went away back to the Cleveland Force. And then, of course, the Rashido family with Luciano and his mother and father bringing this organization back, and now Ryan Ruiz helping to extend that as well.
You want to talk about another influential member of the entire MLIS family, and on all 3 sides of our leagues, really.
Esteban into the block of the wall. Well-worked free kick opportunity, but into the wall. Wall does its job. Now here comes Schmidt.
Adriana Rusito, that's who I wanted to get in. I needed to shout her out at some point, as she's been just the unbelievable, so director of communications, that couldn't go further from summing.
Mutsemwa is on the doorstep and puts it home! It rolled under his leg! and still had enough time to recover and just scoop that one into the goal. 3-2 late here in the third. He almost missed it, slid over it. It's stuck underneath him. And again, almost like a little shovel in the sand, just putting that ball over the line.
Just like he drew it up. That's exactly the way that you plan that one to go. You say, that's what I meant to do on that one. And Chavez, the keeper, makes the save anyway, and so then you just can't blame him. And, well, Utemwa given far too long on the goal line to sit there, think about it, gather his thoughts, perhaps, read the newspaper, and then take the shot.
And now a goal again, right back for Amarillo. They said, stop talking about Cleveland, talk Amarillo.
Well, that can be easy to do too, because this club can get you just as quick. That came so fast off the restart, and it's another one of those two directed into the goal by a defensive player. It's going to be credited to the last attacker. That means it's Esteban.
Luis Esteban will be credited with the goal. Brendan Swan trying to help out his keeper, who has been doing everything to keep Amarillo at bay, but turns more into a shot. Now a shot coming from Tomasz Nagy. Ambitious effort outside that yellow line, and play will restart. Third quarter, nearing the 2-minute to go mark. 3-3, back and forth we go. That one sent deep. Derizic tracking back into a defensive position. Sujovic trying to go off the wall to Nagy. That one looked like it popped up off of his hand. They let play continue with Darren Mitchell. Manuel Celaya. Going to have him as one of our players to watch. He's definitely been watched by that crunch defense, but here he is in the attack. Laverson Rodriguez battling with Bobby Chanchar. Nothing doing there. Back out to Mitchell. Minute and a half left in quarter number 3. 3-3 in the third. Setting up for what could be an epic fourth quarter to finish out semifinal Saturday. Still a minute 15 away from that.
Are you certain you've got those 16 minutes and change in you, Kevin?
Oh, I got them. I'm ready. This day has been absolutely fantastic. It's these players, WMLIS, MLIS, they've been infusing the energy. Feel like I could keep on going. I won't do that. As soon as they tell me to get off air, I will get off air. I promise you, folks. Liam McIntosh scoops it up.
At home, please hold him to that. Remember, he's Kevin Arnold.
With a mic in my face, sometimes it turns into an epilogue. Here's Spraggling. Sveko just couldn't get a touch. Derizic frustrated. Not sure if he's frustrated with his team or just with the touch just going awry. But it's 3-3. Team well within it. Got to keep your head. Bozak deflects it. Now he gets dispossessed, trying to go 1-on-2. Here comes Macias. Now here comes Amarillo. That one goes just wide and out of play. We have 20, looks like just under 7.7 seconds on the clock. 7.7 left here in the third.
And thank you, Mr. Photographer, for going to retrieve that one that time. Again, we haven't seen any of our referees jump into the stands to go get one yet.
Temuan dispossessed as the clock will tick down. Last shot coming in. That one will not count. That one came after the buzzer. Heck of a shot, though, from midfield. A little fun there after the whistle.
Yeah, you got to sit there and argue your case, as Miller is doing right now, or excuse me, Reyes is doing right now, saying, well, can we count that?
Yeah, a little nervy moment there here at the end of the third quarter, but we sit 3-3. 15 minutes to go as of now to decide who faces Toronto in the championship match tomorrow, which will, of course, be here on the very same network you can watch this fourth quarter, the National Soccer Network.
In Barca camp, I sing my song Grown on and off of the field. Don't miss the time to register.
Sign up now for Barca camp.
On the clock. Scoreboard says it is the fourth quarter. Both teams tied at 3. Ryan Glinsky, of course, alongside of us, I think properly characterized it. 2 heavyweights doing battle in this one. Who will get the final punch as we are underway, and Amarillo will be in possession, and it will be Fredo Chavez, the goalkeeper. Over net, he will try to shoot, and it will be right into the waiting arms of Liam McIntosh. Now, all the way down to Landon Kuhn. And almost undercutting Jose Lopez. Luis Esteban will find Chavez, and I will let you know that veterans, are you looking to purchase a home? Joe Page and Lynn Javs with the TOP team, powered by Liberty Home Mortgage, are your local VA loan specialists right there in Las Vegas. As a veteran and a veteran's spouse, they don't just know VA loans. They've lived it. They know it. They've been in it their entire lives. As Amarillo is in the attack right now, but Joe Page, Lynn Jabs, they will get you set. They will start your journey to home ownership today, and with their TOP team, powered by Liberty Home Mortgage, reach out to them today. Ball goes out of play, 13:55 on the clock. There's Omar Najjar looking for some runners. McIntosh send it up the near boards. There's Mikey Derazic. He will see a double team. Adrian Miller in on that. Somehow Derazic gets away. Jar will work a little bit of a weave with Chris Svecko. Trying to get a little movement here. And that pass, I think he was looking for Suljevic. Errant on that one. Chavez with an easy restart. Nervy moments here in the fourth quarter. 3-3 the score. Averson Rodriguez. posting up on Omar Najjar. Back to Adrian Miller near midfield. Cross it over to Roberto Escalante. Najjar and Derizic doing work defensively. He'll move there from Najjar to get a defender off his feet. Finds Nagy. Goes against Miller. He's Esteban there in support. Miller goes down looking for a foul call, and he will get it. Suljevic telling Miller to get up. Referee saw that contact, though, wisely bring that play back.
And Suljevic also probably a little upset that that shot didn't, or that possession rather, didn't end in a shot up on goal. I think you had Najjar coming up left flank. That was a pretty juicy option. Had the ball been able to get crossed in there.
So ball goes just out of play. Bobby Chanchar will bring it up. So they will be deep in Amarillo territory, will Cleveland, and they will actually get the clearance violation free kick. Usually you'll see Admir Suljevic over this one. This year he's been more of the distributor instead of the goal scorer. Derizic to his left and Jordan to his right. They will call time. We will take time out with them here early in the fourth quarter. 12 and a half left, tied at 3 with a free kick. Dangerous opportunity with Cleveland coming out right here on the National Soccer Network. Over this set piece, just to the top of the arc. Derizic to his left, Jordan to his right. Jordan will take it and find the back of the net. That might have gone through the wickets of Fredo Chavez, and Jordan serves it up and serves up the lead for Cleveland momentarily, as we have seen, of course, quick responses. But Jordan, when everybody thought it was Suljevic, it ends up on the foot of the Captain Crunch, Dave Jordan.
You want to say it's easy to forget about this guy as an attacker. You shouldn't do that. Jordan, 5th all-time in goals scored here in Major League Indoor Soccer. And that now, just for the regular season, he has 46 of them. He's 5th in points overall, too. The all-time leader in blocked shots. We haven't even gotten to mention that hardly at all. And you know he's always going to be a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year because that's his expectation of himself. And at 39 years of age, it's like he's getting better and doing this Benjamin Button routine. And he lit up Chicago for that 4 goals, a career high in that game over in Chicago. That was an absolute treat. He scored an empty netter in that one that brought the house down. Dave Jordan is entertainment.
I want to talk about a savvy play by a rookie. Landon Kuhn got just enough of his head before it actually crossed the barrier of the boards to prevent a clearance violation and just set up just a quick restart for Amarillo instead of giving them that same set piece we just saw from Cleveland. 4-3 we sit, fourth quarter. Under 12 minutes now. Amarillo on the attack. Going wide, McIntosh down to save that one near the near post. Players down again to the turf. We continue to play on. Turf burns. Either team that makes it out of this one, there's going to be a lot of work from the training staff as Piwu goes down, but here comes Amarillo. Over to the left, good block from Chanchar off the wall. been Miguel Angel Diaz kind of being the trendsetter for the offense. Now Piwu with strength, off the wall. Jordan, left foot too high, heads it to Piwu. That one saved by Chavez on the near post.
And so Fredo Chavez doing another high wire, tightrope, escape, whatever you want to call it. Mr. Houdini is still alive here. It's just the 1 goal deficit, but you go down by 2 in this one, it's going to feel like 10. You go down by 3 and it's going to feel like 25 because of how tight this is.
Jordan now up the far boards. Derizic, middle of the pitch. Has it on his left foot, not enough on it. He takes a spill to the turf. Chavez sees that one right to his mitts. Sends it down. Mutemwa on the sprint. Wins that ball. Just laying there on the interception. Now Derizic gets by his defender. Right foot into Chavez, who saves that one. Spragling was waiting on the back post. Spragling contact with Diaz. Now contact back and forth, and this is where that allowance of physical play to go, this is where it starts to, players start to test it down the stretch. Spragling with a push. Then Diaz came back in with a push. Then both were going back and forth and back and forth. Spragling didn't need to push from behind. They allowed play to continue. Diaz unhappy, takes him out. Nagy takes out a player. Back and forth with the contact we go. No card shown. We continue here in the fourth quarter. 4-3 shot from Esteban. Up and out of play.
You know the worst part about that dust up is Spragling was just kind of collateral damage after the rest of the play had already passed on and the whistle had been blown. It's unenviable, but there's going to be a whole lot more of that. I'm just going to speak that into existence right now, as it were. There's going to be a lot more physical play before we get out of here.
Esteban in open space. He'll shoot just wide. Olivas, back post. He finds the back of the net. Olivas with the answer. 4-4.
What did Coach Chad Webb tell us? He said his club wants to score a bunch of goals, and he wants that to be as simple as the game plan has to be. Well, you've been kept down for a while. You can't keep them down forever. And as we are tied now with under 10 minutes, this is the match that we knew we signed up for, Kevin.
It absolutely is. 4-4. And now players starting to get into a little bit. Tanner gets out of his seat.
I think that's just a stretch, to be honest. It's been sitting a little long, you know what I mean?
That's the type of game that it's become as well. Everyone on their feet, enjoying the action. Bobby Chanchar over to Omar Najjar. He's set over midfield. Chanchar looking for Derizic. Chavez comes out. That one sent way up into the audience. There'll be a restart for the Crunch in Amarillo territory. We'll actually set it again. This will be another set piece in the middle of the pitch. These are the plays that the Crunch love to set up. They have several plays off of this, just like Amarillo does. Slivovich over it. Will he give way to Jordan this time? Will not, but he will send it to Jordan. That one into the block. Good sliding block there from Castaneda. McIntosh comes all the way out. He is way out of goal, and Amarillo capitalizes. David Treviso. All he had to do was put it into the nets with no one in his way. Amarillo scores back-to-back goals. 5-4, and a blue card will be shown to Liam McIntosh for the reckless challenge.
So here's the thing. Was that then the delayed blue? That's my thought, would be that they probably had shown it, and that means that there's no more power play time because you've already served your sort of advantage by that contact for McIntosh, and there's no further time. Let's see if we can get a look into the penalty box. It's my guess is that it was thrown as a delayed blue. We just didn't quite see it.
Amarillo takes the lead on the mistake from Cleveland. It's the second time tonight they've taken advantage of one of those mistakes. 9 minutes left here in quarter number 4. Jordan off the wall, deep into Amarillo territory. Somehow that didn't go over the boards. And now Jordan will watch this one go out of play. Still waiting to see if any players have been sent to the box. There is none, so blue card to McIntosh, but we stay at even strength. Sure, Amarillo won't argue that one because they are now in the lead. Here they come again, feeling that momentum start to swing. Deep shot, off the wall, Esteban looking for the volley. Settle things down.
You know, I wanted to get a little bit of another shout out to Chihuahua, Mexico, of course. And I wanted to say, okay, so Treviso's got the back-to-backs. He's looking like a dog. I don't know if you were going to allow that, but I was going to try and get it in regardless.
Hey, I'll take it. I will absolutely take that. Jordan gets taken out. The possession goes back to the Crunch. Again, you watch this throw out McIntosh. I don't know what he was doing so far off of his line, but Treviso says, thank you very much. Nagy gets dispossessed. Starting to see that Amarillo team we saw in the first quarter start to come back. They feel good with that lead. Now Najjar gets it. Can't find Carter Hancock in the box. He will stay with it. Try to go off the wall, not enough. Young guys trying to connect there for Cleveland. Amarillo loves to see that ball in the hands of Fredo Chavez. Darren Mitchell will win it back to Castaneda. 7:15 left. Fourth quarter. Kuhn gives chase to Chavez. We'll try to find Faberson Rodriguez. Sveko using his body. Kind of pulled the chair out from underneath Rodriguez. He goes down. McIntosh sends it down. Jordan deflects that out of play, and it'll go back to Amarillo. Here comes the media timeout. The under 8-minute timeout. We will step aside and bring you the final set of this fourth quarter. Amarillo back in control as David Treviso gets them on the board 5-4 right here on the National Soccer Network.
Trusted for over 30 years, they provide expert legal services to help you protect what matters most.
Tonight's event is proudly supported by Roper & Roper Attorney at Law. Trusted for over 30 years, they provide expert legal services to help you protect what matters most. Back inside Orleans Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, the final semifinal of the night. Fourth quarter, Amarillo taking advantage of a Cleveland mistake. They lead 5-4. Ryan Glinsky, either one of these teams, they will have an interesting turnaround into that championship match.
Yeah, we're less than 24 hours away to that championship match. And you got to think Toronto, they have a couple-hour head start. Thinking about just around 5 hours from the game that just ended. And we also got to think here for this Cleveland, if we really think about it, they're in their clocks right now. It's about 12:30 in their head. How are these bodies going to go late in this game?
Very interesting, yes. Have they even adjusted to the time change going east to west? Of course, you do gain some time that way, but your body clock can really play some interesting games with you as the Crunch are in possession. Najar to Schmidt. First touch goes awry and allows Luis Esteban to come the other way. There's Miguel Reyes over to Miller. Going to try to get some possession going. 5:50 on the clock in the fourth. (5-4) Amarillo leads. Crunch looking for another opportunity to tie it up and atone for the mistake from their keeper, who has done so many things right here this evening. Esteban and Amarillo seeing a lot more open space. That early flurry from Amarillo forcing the Crunch to use a lot of their energy. How much do they have left in the tank here in quarter number 4?
I'm glad you left that as a hypothetical. Oh, ouch. There's a stomping on maybe in that corner. Man, I'm surprised there's not something more than a whistle here. Are you?
Abel Olivas, yes. I mean, here, this is where, cards coming out. The officials, you don't want them to be the story, but having them get control of the final 5 minutes. Ticking under now, 5 minutes to go. Jordan taken out. Kuhn trying to go up the near boards. It's dispossessed by Kanye's. McIntosh. Plenty of time still left. Temwa will come to get it at midfield. Jordan sends it deep into the corner. Sujevic has been kept quiet for most of the match.
Look at that referee. I've been noticing this. Our on-field referees have displayed fantastic athleticism in this match, and I just wanted to give them a hand for it.
Chavez just comes out to punch that one away. That one just off its line, trying to find Sujevic. Adrian Miller against 2 defenders somehow gets through. Forces the Crunch to chase the game again. Sujevic requesting a substitution. Get a quick breather. Amarillo trying to catch the Crunch in that rotation. Poor pass there. Derizic sniffed it out. Kuhn trying to go and do it himself. Young player. Again, gives Amarillo the chance to kill more of the time. 3:41 left inside the arena. Diaz to Mitchell, over to Kleber Rodriguez, and he somehow puts it over and on the crossbar. That could have been the dagger. Crunch still alive. Mitchell back down to Rodriguez. Sees Sveko. Sveko stands his ground, forces Rodriguez to send it back to Diaz. Diaz, plenty of space. McIntosh got enough. Mitchell sends it back in with his head. 3:06 now. As Jordan goes down, and it'll be a foul on Jordan. Amarillo takes it quick, and that one could put the dagger into Cleveland. Kleber Rodriguez gets another chance, and all he had to do was poke it home.
It looks like Rodriguez might be the alpha and the omega for this one. That's a quick restart. Sometimes you see those whistled, and they try and slow you down if you get a little bit of the false start. Between Castañeda and Diaz, though, they were perfectly in sync, both saying, hey, the moment that we get this thing put down and that whistle blows, we're playing this in, and then it leads to a wide open Kleber Rodriguez for his second, none bigger, of his life, perhaps. than right now.
The Crunch will bring on the extra attacker. McIntosh goes to the bench. Suljevic got his breather as they trail 6-4 to Amarillo. That crucial 2-goal lead with 3 minutes to go, 2:54, as it is Omar Najjar who is the designated field player. 6-on-5 advantage for the Crunch. Najjar, again, you don't want to see any sort of dispossessed because empty netters. Amarillo's capitalized on plenty of mistakes here tonight. Luis Esteban giving chase on Dave Jordan. Jordan tries to turn, goes down. Esteban will find Chavez. Now Suljevic wins it, and it goes out of play. So Amarillo can possess and take more time off. 2:18 sits on the clock. Amarillo 6-4, taking advantage. Crunch caught napping. This one sent deep to Salaya. Or excuse me, I think that is, yep, it is Kanye's. Now Mutemwa on the sprint. Gotta find feet in these situations. So find the feet of Admir Suljevic.
And your press has probably got to come higher and higher all the time. And Najjar, that 6th attacker, marked with that blue penny, he has even got to take some big gambles. And so, like you said, that empty netter's always at risk.
Off the wall, Piwu not able to finish. Esteban trying to send it down, see if they could catch the Crunch out. Here come Amarillo. It is 2-on-1 against Najjar, and they will finish. That could just about do it for Amarillo. David Treviso yet again. Nothing Najjar could do. Everyone caught up top for the Crunch. Najjar left on an island, tried to get to that near post, and Treviso puts it home.
Treviso, golazo, this guy says. Our only team goals for this year, as almost everyone on Amarillo told us, to be the 2-time champs, to win that back-to-back. It starts here. It looks as if they're going to be in the final. The only question, what's Toronto got left in the tank? And what does this Amarillo club, should they polish off this last minute and 35? What do they have in the tank, too, when we get there tomorrow night?
Amarillo sitting 7-4, minute and a half left. Crunch will keep the extra attacker. They're going to need goals and goals in a hurry.
I'm told they've got some good goal scorers over there, perhaps. That Suljevic guy.
They do have good goal scorers, but taking a little too much time to attack and get inside of the Amarillo defense. Temwa, again, a header, not finding feet. Here comes Amarillo again. Will they put an 8th on the board? Kuhn gets back. They do! Amarillo just running away with it. For a game that's been back and forth all game long, final score probably won't tell the full tale. Amarillo is just having a goal-scoring party to finish off Cleveland.
It's Salaya. Little bit of build-up, too, and they weren't in too much of a hurry. I kind of like that. Castaneda is the assist there to Salaya, and your leading goal scorer for Amarillo on the season with 25 coming in. Gets one more punctuation mark. This one's decided.
Amarillo will look to move on to take on Toronto, the 2 top seeds in MLIS. The inevitable matchup is upon us. The Crunch will get one back with Piwu. Stops at 40.3. They will trail 8-5.
Do I want to hit the so you're saying there's a chance?
Had plenty of pop culture references. Why not add another one to this?
One more as we're running out of time for this one. I think it's the time to get it in there.
Looks like I think Amarillo will call a timeout here. They will try to see this one finish. 40.3 is on the game clock at Orleans Arena in Las Vegas. We have been treated to a dandy all day long. And Amarillo looking to end this with an absolute flourish. That mistake with McIntosh coming out, getting the foul, Treviso capitalizing, taking advantage of the moment. That one moment has turned the tide completely to Amarillo. They had the goal of going back-to-back. Chad Webb wouldn't divulge everything as the head coach, but you just could feel there was a level of confidence in them to at least have the opportunity to be back-to-back champs.
Yeah, that's all you can ask for at the end of the day, to get to that dance by controlling your own destiny, and they've done so, and they're going to get one more chance at it. I do want to note Treviso's role as the closer in this one. A 5-1 goal run since 9:34 of the fourth quarter. 3 out of those 5 for Amarillo, David Treviso.
Treviso definitely, again, capitalizing in the moment. Key here is Amarillo gets possession. False start from Cleveland. Now they will take it. We'll send it back to Chavez. They will just look to play pinball and possession. Darren Mitchell in open space. He will take a shot and find the back of the net. He said, why kill off the rest of the clock when I can just finish them myself? Darren Mitchell makes it 9-5 with 27.2.
Okay, so one more Thanos reference. Fine, I'll do it myself. Whether you meant it to be or not, that's what popped into my head. And this Amarillo club has collected all of the Infinity Stones, it appears. They've slapped them in the gauntlet, and they're throwing it down.
Not awake enough to actually know that I had to do that on purpose. But as a big Marvel fan, I'm glad to atone and bring that to fellow Marvel fans out there. 15 seconds now left as Amarillo will move on to tomorrow's championship. Derazic sees it off the wall. That one blocked. Amarillo not going to allow any more goals to be scored on them. 3, 2, and 1. And that is it. The day comes to an end.
Mercifully.
As Amarillo knocks out Cleveland, and they will head to the championship match tomorrow evening. Afternoon for them in Vegas, evening for all those on the Eastern time zone. 7 p.m. We will bring it to you right here on the National Soccer Network. We have 2 teams tomorrow, Tanner, that have a chance to go back-to-back. Chicago Mustangs on the women's side, and now the Amarillo Bombers on the men's side of things. An absolutely world-class finish to this one. Champions find ways to get it done.
And a world-class weekend that we're starting to unfurl for you. We can see the vision, and we hope all of you can too.
So he will bring it to you tomorrow. Ryan Glinsky, let's wrap this night up as Amarillo, your final score in the final semifinal of the night. Amarillo 9, Cleveland 5.
You're right, fellas. It has been one heck of a night here with the National Soccer Network and Major League Indoor Soccer on the women's and men's side. And we got a fun one tomorrow. 2 games, Chicago, Salt Lake City. Chicago trying to defend their crown. Salt Lake City, first year, trying to win it in their first year. And then on the other side, Amarillo, trying to defend their crown as well. And then they have Toronto Crusaders, which it's going to be a fun one in both of those. We've had jam-packed games all day here on semifinal Saturday. And then obviously tomorrow we have two finals. And boys, I got a question for you. I asked it on the women's side. What are some of the keys for tomorrow's game on the men's side between Amarillo and Toronto?
I'm going to be interested to see what happens with Philip Zendelik. If that was, again, we still have yet to get word from Vegas if there was any sort of injury concern. Toronto feeling like they were going to make it to tomorrow and holding him off in a precautionary manner. If there is an injury concern, or if it was always the plan to get John Smits into that match for Toronto. And on the other side with Amarillo, it's about getting those big guys, Claverson, Rodriguez, Salaya, And of course you're having your defense standing strong with Adrian Miller, Miguel Reyes. He's usually in the attack. He was helping out on defense. Guys selling out and doing all they can. I think that's what we're looking for between these two teams.
Yeah, I fully agree. On that women's side, it's team speed. And who's got more of it? Maybe that Chicago injury to Valerie Battisti in that back line, that could factor in a little bit too. The goalkeeper matchup there is going to be fantastic, but I do think it comes largely down to team speed. That Utah side shot 50 times on goal against Carmen Swigard for Fort Wayne, scoring 19 times Chicago for the all-time record. Crazy.
Absolutely. And Ryan, as you close this out here, I think the final point, 3 of the 4 teams we're going to see tomorrow are all about speed. We saw it with Toronto. They can slow it down with the best of them. They have team speed. We saw it early with Amarillo, taking it to Cleveland at the start. And, of course, we just mentioned Salt Lake. Chicago is the one team that can really put a damper in speed. Tomorrow, we'll have to see, and I know we're going to get a lot of rest tonight. Hopefully the teams do too. Right back at it tomorrow with all of you here.
Yeah, hopefully you boys have your voices rested as you guys called 4 games today. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to our producer, John Turner, and our graphics girl, Brianna Turner. You guys have all been wonderful here today. We'll have the finals on the women's side tomorrow and the men's side right here on the National Soccer Network. And on behalf of everyone here at the National Soccer Network, we thank you for tuning in all day today here on Semifinal Sunday. We'll see you right back here tomorrow for the finals here in Major League Indoor Soccer.
We'll be right back.